Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of 11,000 and Counting. I am your host, Alec Cosvel, as usual. To my virtual left is Matthew Watson, and it's been a while, folks, so let's go over it. The Phillies currently have two losses in spring training, but all time is what we're really concerned about. All time, the Phillies have 11,259 losses. They just keep on rolling. Hopefully, more wins than losses this season. We're expecting it. We're getting ready. Matt, how the heck are you?
I think I need to start adding a drum roll for every time we update the loss counter, like a da-da-da-da-da, and then we unveil. I think that's how I'm feeling. But
Only
no,
for only for when like we actually update it. It's
correct,
been a
yeah.
bit.
Well, maybe we'll debut that for season starts, like that first open. Well, when we sweep the Braves to open the weekend of the baseball season, we all need to update the amount or anything like that. But yeah, Philly spring training has gone pretty swell. Uh, I might say the Phillies look pretty great.
Yeah, the arms are looking good. No injury issues. I'm knocking on a wood desk as I say that. Maybe there's just been a little. I think Walker hasn't debuted yet, but that's our fifth starter. Mick Abel has looked good, which is really nice to see out of your top non-injured pitching prospect. Even Seth McGarry struck out three guys the other day. Uh, things are feeling all right on the pitching side of things. Ranger Suarez made his debut yesterday and pitched 3 innings in his first spring training game. Who does that? It's
Ranger,
usually like 1 to 2 innings. And then Rangers just like, nah, I'm good. I'll go three.
dude, I love Ranger Suarez. Ranger Suarez is the guy who does nothing by the book, but he does it so well that you don't care. Like it's like, oh yeah, Ranger, yeah, no big deal. Went 3 innings at his first start.
Is
No,
he
no biggie.
just like I know they're not the same person, but I feel like a lot of things connect. He just feels like the Phillies' current Cliff Lee. I know he's not a Cy Young winner,
Yeah,
but I don't know the way he handles himself on the field. He's similar. He seems like a fun guy in the clubhouse as well, and I think Cliff fairly was, although I think he's more of a reserved guy now. Somebody tell me if he is ever up for a signing because I have a giant like Rawlings ad of Cliff Lee from my time working at Rawlings, and I need that signed.
all right, yeah, yeah.
But
Cliff Lee,
now,
spot Cliff Lee, let us know.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, Ranger, it feels like one of those guys. It is almost always ready to break out. I mean, he has in the postseason. We've seen that. He's a bulldog in the postseason. But what are your expectations for a guy like Ranger this year?
So it's kind of funny that you mentioned the playoff success because Ranger Suarez has been brilliant in the postseason in both 2022 and 2023. Just kind of dominant, honestly, and he kind of gives me Jimmy Butler vibes, where the regular season's always all right, and then playoffs come and he just turns it on. The thing I need to see from Ranger Suarez this season is just consistency in the regular season. I know he's been banged up a little bit in the past couple of years. I mean, there was the time where he was in the bullpen, they were moving him around. He was a starter, he was a follower, he was a closer at one point. So he's done it all. I think the thing I need to see from Ranger Suarez is just consistency. If he can go out every night, have a sub 4 ERA, like if he could pitch in the 3.7, 3.8 range, play Gold Glove caliber defense, that's one of the biggest things. He hasn't pitched enough innings to qualify for the Gold Glove. That's what I need. You know what? I'll say it right here. Ranger Suarez needs to qualify for the Gold Glove award this year for his regular season to be a success, in my opinion, because I think he wins the award hands down without any competition.
Yeah, I mean somehow Wheeler won it last year and that's only because Ranger was injured or had an injury enough to not make the cut. The year before though, he I swear he got screwed by the qualifications because I think he pitched over 150 innings, but I swear he was like 3 innings shy of what he actually needed. And that's just rough.
Hmm.
Another guy really doing well in camp and pitched 3 innings already is Matt Strom. Matt Strom, of course, was swingman last year. Started the season out as helping the Phillies out when they really needed a starter, and then transitioning to honestly one of the more trustworthy bullpen pieces for Rob Thompson. He has 6 strikeouts in 3 innings pitched already, and hasn't allowed a hit. And yet, let that man cook.
Strom was somebody I was a little concerned about. I don't know if I mentioned it on the last episode of 11,000 Accounting or if it was an episode of Alley Talk that we've done. But the thing with Strom to me was that he pitched so many innings last year that he normally hasn't in the past. It was a record-setting year for him. He did start a lot in the first half, then moved to the bullpen primarily in the second half. So I was kind of concerned with just the amount of wear and tear that his arm might have gone through last year. But he seems to be responding really well in spring training, like you mentioned. The 3 innings pitched, 6 of the 9 outs have been strikeouts, so he's looked really crisp. I would be, I don't want to use the word hesitant, but I would be cautious. I think with Match Dom early in the year, I would try and maybe not use him often. Like maybe kind of let him just really ease into the start of the season. And if you can let him kind of just a couple innings here and there each week, and then you really let him pick things up in May, June, July. I think that would be beneficial for all sides. But I mean, if he's pitching well, he's pitching well. I'm not going to be somebody who says hold him back for just because we don't want him to get hurt. I mean, if he's pitching well, he's pitching well. So I would say there needs to be a little bit of caution when it comes to Strom and the amount of innings he pitched last year and how they're going to use him this year.
So I wouldn't be as cautious as you would say. I just wouldn't think of him as a starter at all this year. I think there's a couple other options that you could go to over him, but I think he's shown he can handle, a couple innings here and then, and that's no problem at all. And if he keeps doing what he's doing in spring training, I'm not worried. So let's see how that goes. But I'm fine with letting him go full bore out of the bullpen. But let's not see him throw 5, 6 innings. We don't need it. Some of the Phillies pitching prospects have looked decent, pretty good so far. Mick Abel pitched his 1 inning, but he had 2 strikeouts. Griff McGarry, 1 inning, 3 strikeouts. Griff McGarry is a guy that's fallen down prospect list because of the just black hole of a season he had last year. And Mick
Mhm.
Abel was up and down everywhere. But if they can start building some confidence, and the Phillies start getting some pitching depth built behind them, you don't really need that emergence breaking case of emergency Strom starting a game. Behind him, Spencer Turnbull,
Mhm.
he's pitched 1 game so far. He's got 2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts. He's a guy that I really liked as a signing because I thought he, before in Detroit when he was healthy, really showed some great stuff. So I think the Phillies have sneakily built like some decent pitching depth. It's interesting.
No, I agree with that. Dave Dombrowski does such a good job at finding these bubble roster guys and kind of like and I gotta credit the scouting department too, but they're able to just see stuff in guys that I feel like other teams aren't. And then they bring them in the camp and they kind of craft them to the way that they see them, working. Like Spencer Turnbull is a great example. He really flashed in his spring debut. A guy who I mean, he hasn't necessarily been lights out by any means, but I've been fairly impressed with David Buchanan so far in spring. Got hit around a little bit in his second appearance, but just overall, I like the idea of having him as a depth starter. Like instead of having to use Strom as a starter, like you were saying, you could call up David Buchanan from AAA, and I don't think there's going to be I don't think Buchanan has a shot to make the roster, honestly. But I do think that he would accept a demotion to Lehigh Valley, just to kind of stay with the organization. And then, like, yeah, Turnbull, I don't really know if there's a spot for him necessarily to start the year. But if Taiwan Walker's issues kind of keep flaring up, there's a spot right there for him. Like you said, McGarry flashed in his outing. Abel flashed. He was supposed to start today against the Twins, but he's kind of down to an illness. So I would expect for him to get on the mound to start a game in the next couple days, maybe even tomorrow. So there's just like you said, there's a lot of depth this spring, which is really nice. You don't have to shoehorn anybody in. And it really kind of just allows for the Phillies to use all these different guys. Like you don't necessarily have to have a set, Nola goes today, Wheeler goes tomorrow, and we have to get these guys. ready to go. It's like, all right, yeah, we'll throw Christopher Sanchez today, and maybe tomorrow we'll do Ranger, and then maybe the next day we'll piggyback Nola and Spencer Turnbull. Like they have just done a really nice job at giving themselves options. It's going to allow everybody to stay fresh in spring, and I just overall think it's a good way to build a team.
So one guy also we haven't even mentioned is a guy they picked up on waivers, Max Castillo. He's only started one game so far this spring, but he's gone 2 innings, one hit, one walk, a strikeout. Like apparently his changeup has been looking good, or looked good in that appearance. Somebody that I trust with a lot of scouting reports, especially based around the Phillies, Matt Winkelman. He was saying he literally just looks like a number five starter, which is really just what the Phillies need.
Mhm.
So if they can get something good out of Max Castillo just being kind of that like spot start guy at some point this year, that works for me too. I, there's a few guys, and Chris Sanchez looked good in his first start as well.
Mhm.
So things are all right on the pitching side. On the hitting side, the starters just have come around, and things aren't going to start clicking immediately. So there's no reason to react or overreact to anything. Um, Start talking about, I guess, Philly's favorite son, Scott Kingery,
Oh my
and
gosh.
yeah, 2 home runs this spring and 444, a 1.694 OPS. Um, he's just gonna be in AAA, right?
Well,
Right?
Tommy wrote the other day about possibly seeing King restart the year with the club. He's not on the 40-man roster as of this point, and so they can kind of use him however they see fit. But I don't know if he keeps having it, if like he stays hot this spring, there's no reason he shouldn't make the team. Like I know the battle right now is supposed to be Pache versus Cave for that last spot. And I know other guys like Weston Wilson are performing really well. It's a nice problem to have. But overall, like if there's a situation where Pache wins the starting center field job and they start Johan Rojas in AAA, I could see Scott Kingery getting that last roster spot with a big league club. Now you have a guy who can play the infield and the outfield. You basically have younger. He's a younger-ish version of Whit Merrifield, and I think that Kingery, maybe the pressure's off. Maybe he's finally healthy. He's got confidence back. So I guess we'll see. But I don't know. Do you think there's a shot he can make the club?
I don't know. I I feel like he just needs to go somewhere else. Like he needs a shot somewhere else. Just I don't want to curse him to be sent to Oakland. So what's another team that we could send him to that he can just start right away?
Kansas City.
Do they have a second baseman?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Exactly. So send him to Kansas City. Just get him an opportunity where he's not going to just be a bench guy. Because I think there's still something there. I mean, no one wanted to pick up his contract, and that's over now. So just I hope he can.
Yeah,
Anyway,
no, that's a good idea.
the other random guy hitting out of his mind right now is the current hit leader for the Phillies in spring training, Aramis Garcia, the catcher. Yeah, he has two doubles, a home run. He's hitting 583 with a 1643 OPS. Just a little behind Kinger in the OPS category.
Hmm.
But there I don't think the Phillies would be inclined to make a change at the backup catcher position. Do you?
No, I don't think. I think Stubbs has that job locked up, and assuming there's no injuries or anything like that, it'll be Remuto and Stubbs to start the year. But I've
Yeah.
been very big on Aramis Garcia this spring. I keep tweeting about him because he's sticking out. Like I know he's fairly older. I believe he's 30 years old at this point. But with Rafael Marchand just consistently getting hurt, I feel like his
He's
stock is at
31 now.
31 now. So like Garcia is a guy who's like a Weston Wilson type to where, I don't believe he's had any big league appearances with any club or anything like that, but he's
No,
just,
he's Garcia.
yeah, Garcia.
He's played 4 years in the majors, a total of 116 games.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, like a guy who He's probably going to start the year in AAA, but at this point, he's earned himself the third spot in terms of catching depth. Like if one of the guys goes down, I think Garcia would get the call at this point. And I know that Rafael Marchand's younger and still has a lot to prove, but at this point, if the Phillies do end up having to call up a catcher, I would rather it be Garcia. Like he's performing well, and Marchand's not necessarily a great hitter. I know they signed Cam Gallagher to kind of fill a
Local
body.
kid Cam Gallagher,
That is true, Lancaster, and I know he's got plenty of big league
for
experience,
those
but
who actually live in Lancaster, Lancaster. Continue.
but yeah. So I mean, I know we're splitting hairs here talking about the backup catcher. Like that's how
That's what
loaded
there
the Phillies
is.
roster is. Yeah,
This is what we've got.
yeah, exactly. And like I know there's really not a lot of battles, but I don't know. I think Garcia is just performing really well.
So, I mean, the big conversation though has become Jake Cave versus Christian Pache because Cave will probably make the roster because he's a left-handed bat, but or is it the other way around?
No, Cave's a
Is it
lefty. Yeah.
okay? Cave's the lefty, Pache's the righty,
Hmm.
and they don't really have anybody off the bench to be left-hand hitter. The one thing that I've kind of heard that piques my interest that people talk about is see if maybe somebody will trade for Pache and see if we can get a better left-handed hitter out of it than Cave because Pache's a former like top 25 prospect in baseball and
Yeah.
he's not that much removed from it. He's had one disastrous season in Oakland and one pretty disappointing season with the Braves. And that's it besides that. Cuz last year with the Phillies he actually showed some decent offensive ability. Meanwhile, he's still a plus defender. Uh do you think teams might have interest in Pache?
Yeah. I mean, whether like a team, I we just mentioned, about shipping Kingery off to like the Athletics, like a team like that, a team like the Nationals or you know the Royals, the Tigers, teams like that could take a flyer on a guy like Pache, let him start every day. He's young, and if it pays off, it pays off. It doesn't. It's not going to cost them much. Maybe the Phillies get a prospect out of him. Maybe they get an MLB caliber arm, maybe a bat, like you're saying. But um, honestly, like I didn't like the move when they initially got Christian Pache, but the way that they've kind of like groomed him offensively, and he's been a very productive MLB caliber player. Even if he's not a starter, he's very much earned a bench role for a major league club, especially with the defense that he plays. So I think it's definitely something the Phillies should consider if a team comes calling. It would kind of end the whole Rojas battle, and at that point, it's his job. But then, and honestly, I would rather trade Pasha than have him on the bench, if I'm being honest, because it's basically him and Johan Rojas are the same player. And I would
Mhm.
argue that you don't want the same player on the bench. You would want somebody with a different skill set. And so I would rather have like a Weston Wilson on the bench than a Pache just because of his versatility defensively. He provides power from the right handed side. It's just an overall different makeup than what you're going to get out of Pache, who's also what arguably you're going to get out of Rojas. So um, I don't know. I like the idea of potentially trading him. Obviously, it depends on what they'll get back, but overall, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what all of this is. There's a reason why we're not like harping on anything specifically because everyone's doing all right. Although I just saw Derek Hall's line this spring, and uh, yeah, he might not be around much anymore.
Yeah, Hall and Brogdon are two guys this spring who, in my opinion, are really just killing their value. Not that they had much to begin with, but Hall, when Hoskins went down last year, everybody's like, all right, let's see what Derek Hall can do as a starter. And then he got hurt, and then that was practically it for him.
Hmm.
I, like, I don't even know if you could get anything out of Derek Hall. He might be a guy you waive.
No, I don't think
And
so.
yeah, but it's not a guy you get rid of just for the sake of getting rid of. You
No,
stash him
but
in AAA.
he will be.
But yeah, it's just like it's kind of unfortunate. Like the dude has pop, but that's about it. And unfortunately, when he's not hitting home runs, he's not providing much else.
If anything, he has his ring from 2022. and that'll be his legacy. He helped the
Mhm.
Phillies get to the playoffs in 2022.
That he
And
did.
that's not a bad legacy to have, and most fans will probably remember him fondly. But for the most part, it seems like he's probably going to fade into obscurity.
Yeah. How old is Derek Hall at this point?
I don't know, 28? He's got to be
Uh,
in his late
he
20s
is
at least.
28 years old. Yeah, you're not. You should be in the prime of your career at this point. You're not a young prospect, so if a team's interested, yeah, maybe. But at this point, he's just kind of a depth piece, and I obviously wish him well in that sense. Like I would
Yeah,
like to see
no,
the
I know.
production out of him, but it's just not. It just doesn't seem like it's going to materialize
Yeah, he should, even if it's not in baseball, he'll find himself a nice career based on what he's done here in Philadelphia.
for sure.
Like if he wants to make Philly his permanent home, and I'm sure we could keep playing him at AAA for as many years as he wants. But I think the era of long ball Hall has pretty much ended. But
Yeah.
again, this is all based that there are better players around, and we don't have to worry about can this guy perform who's never really performed before outside of center field.
hmm
Everyone else is pretty much a veteran at this point.
Yeah, and there's a guy on the team that I feel like hasn't gotten any buzz at all in this spring, and he's a guy who made contributions last year. It was Cody Clemens. I mean, Clemens is
Yeah,
playing well. He's just another example of well, he doesn't do anything extremely well. He's a very solid player all around.
really
It's
good
just unfortunate.
defender at first. Like
Yeah,
I thought when
you
he
know,
got time playing last year, or was it
yeah, it
last
was
year at
last year.
first
Yep.
base. Um I thought he was really solid defender. Like you could notice it.
hmm
And it's rare that you notice defense at first base.
Yes, I agree.
But
But yeah,
yeah, he feels like a guy that I think he'll still be around and we'll still see him because injuries do happen. So I can't foresee him just going to the wayside because he does have some flexibility. He's not just first base only.
hmm
He can pitch too.
that is true. I mean, if you think about it, the Iron Pigs should be loaded this year, right? You
They
have
should be.
Right? You have Garcia behind the plate. You have Hall at first, Weston Wilson in the infield, Cody Clemens can
Spencer
play second base.
Turnbull.
Yeah, Turnbull, Buchanan. They might win the International League this year. Yeah,
Let's
stay
go.
tuned for the Iron Pigs,
Do it
but
for the pigs.
do it for the Pigs. By the way, their Mummers outfits, their
Oh yeah.
uniforms. If you guys haven't seen those, go check that out. They are
Did they ever get
amazing.
Jason Kelsey to
I don't
respond to
think
them?
so. I know they were working on it. I don't think they have, but
Have
yeah,
they have they stopped trying? Is the real question.
I would hope not, but no, it is an amazing uniform, and I love what the minor league system does with uniforms. Like they have so many just fun different themes and different outfits and stuff like that, and it's just fun. And not that I think Major League Baseball needs to necessarily adopt that, but I think they could learn a thing or two from having unique outfits or like stuff like that. Like I love that the Phillies do the Throwback Thursday Powder Blues, right? That is awesome. I feel like other teams could copy that or stuff like that. So but yeah, if you haven't checked out the Mummers outfits, go check those out because boy are they awesome.
Did you see that one minor league uniform that's going around?
Yes, the Dansville
It's something. Is
Daddies.
it Cream Daddies? It
It's
can't
some
be.
it yeah,
It's Dairy
the
Daddies.
Dairy Daddies. Yeah, it's a
Dairy
cow.
Daddies. But the way they're advertising it, I mean,
It's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
it is. But at the same time, I'm just like, huh. Somebody is down bad in that front office. Like
Great marketing, fantastic
it
marketing
is
actually.
fantastic marketing. And what were there were like a few hashtags. Like yeah, like one was, let's see. I'll try to find, yeah, the field of creams. If you build it, they will cream. Get milked. Hashtag get milked. Like
Oh, I love it. This is brilliant.
like there's it is. Whew, it's steamy. Might be a
I,
latte foam at this point.
I might have to buy a hat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. That's honestly just goals is being a dairy daddy, right?
We might have to switch this podcast over to a different team or
I don't
different
even
concept.
know who their actual minor league team is. That's the funny thing. Like I have no who is the root of this.
That's that's honestly a great question. Are they even a major league? Like, are they an independent league team?
Maybe Old North State League.
Let's see.
So maybe they
They were the
aren't.
Danville Otter. They were the Otterbots, which is also a great name.
Jesus, they just have a post that says how creamy are you? And it just says small, medium, large, extra large, XX large, and XX large. It's just but it's just milk cartons.
That is amazing. Yeah, I think they're an independent ball team. But hey, whatever drives in the fans, right?
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, where is Danville?
I have no idea. But yeah, that's how you know Philly
Oh,
spring training is
Virginia.
okay. It's kind of are we at the point where Philly spring training is boring? And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, but like in prior
Boring is
years,
good.
boring is good, right? Like before, it used to be like you had to watch every game because you were hoping to see somebody break out and shine. It was like I need to see all these Nick Williams at bats. I think he could be something like stuff like that. Now it's just like, oh yeah, game's on. I'll throw it on. Like cool. Can't wait for the
Yeah,
regular season to
that's
start.
what I did to do. That's what I did to do. That's what I did today. I just threw it on. And honestly, I think I napped through some of it. Just was like, ah, it's background noise.
And I love spring training. I love
Yeah,
watching
I've never
any
been
baseball,
to
but
spring training, unfortunately.
I'll be down
I
there in
need to.
2
I
weeks.
need to.
Yes, you do. You definitely have to get
Lucky,
down there.
lucky, lucky, lucky.
But
But
yeah, no, it's just it's good that it's boring.
yeah.
Honestly,
I mean, I remember watching it just because I was starved for baseball. I remember I remember going back. It must have been like 2011 or 2000, maybe 2012 spring training because I remember seeing Jake Diekman and like he had never played in the majors for the Phillies yet, and I'm just like, wow, I like this guy. This guy's good. I like this guy. Like because he had just like I think changed his arm angle that he was like coming from that like sidearm
yeah.
position, and I was like, oh, this guy's cool. But that was like over 10 years ago. Besides that, I can't really remember anything specific from a spring training game that's not traumatic. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, unless
Yeah,
it's an
nothing like
injury,
a big moment. Yeah.
no. So again, it's just spring training. Everybody's just getting loose. Everybody's getting ready. You know,
Yeah.
we got real games this month. The end of this month, there's real baseball games that
Yeah.
count.
The Atlanta Braves will be coming to town,
Could you
and
imagine if the Phillies do sweep the Braves to start the season?
I almost don't want them to because
It would be scary.
I mean, I feel like they sweep them every time they play them opening weekend or whatever. Like, and then I think it was like 2 years in a row we played the Braves at home. We swept them back to back years or whatever it was, or maybe it was 19 and then 21. But regardless, it was like, yeah, like what a great start, and then they ended up passing us anyway. Um, but I don't. Obviously, win the series. You take 2 of 3, you get a good start. You have the head to head over the Braves, but I don't know. Maybe the sweep is
Are
bad
we
thought.
asking for too much?
We might be asking for too much, but hey, we're allowed.
That's true. Meanwhile, is Chris Sale looking good again?
I'm not gonna buy. It's spring.
It is
Check
spring.
in June.
Guys are working on things.
Just check in with me in June, then we'll see. Because
Yeah.
I don't. I quite like Chris Sale is a great pitcher, but
I'm
like
not ready for Chris Sale to be an
yeah,
all-star, is what I'm saying.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Like, even if he's a 3.5 ERA guy, though, be like,
The issue with Chris Sale is that he just can't stay on the field. So I mean, you never want to root for injury, but it's just like I don't expect him to last the
but
whole season.
like that was everybody's concern with him even when they drafted him. Or like when he was a huge prospect, it was like, oh, it's this tall, lanky guy. Oh, we know how those guys go. But I mean, he's had a 10-year career at this point. He's at well, no, he's got like a 15-year career. No,
Yeah, it's definitely
wait,
closer to 15. Yeah.
maybe like 12, 12, 12, 12.
Oh, yeah, ballpark.
Um, but he's already, beaten the odds in that case. So, and he's got a Cy Young under his belt, right?
Does he have a I mean, he's got a World
He's
Series
he's
ring.
gotta have a Cy Young under his belt.
Let's
He's
see. Chris
gotta.
Sale. He is never had a Cy Young. Nope. Seven-time All-Star. Won the 2018 World Series. He finished
Jeez.
runner-up in 2017 with the Red Sox.
Listen
Um,
this.
but
2012, sixth place finish. 2013, fifth place. 2014, third place. 2015, fourth place. 16, fifth place. 17, second place. 18, fourth place. He is really the bridesmaid, never the bride.
he had a fantastic stretch there. I mean, but then it got derailed by injuries and stuff like that, and he hasn't been the same pitcher.
Who did
So
he lose to in 2017? Was that like
Keuchel? Is it Dallas
Kluber,
Keuchel?
the
Kluber.
Klubot?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, Kluber had a 2.25 ERA that year.
That was with Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Wow, he was wow.
Yeah, I remember.
Wow, wow, wee wow.
Corey Kluber was a beast back in the day.
I want you to try to
There's no way
guess
back.
who finished third in that
2017.
in AL Cy Young voting in 20. You're not going to get this. Who finished in
Hmm.
third place?
All right. American League
Mm,
ace.
Oof, it's generous.
Not an interesting.
I would have
Rick,
never bestowed him the ace title, but hey, it was a good season, but I didn't
Rick
even
Porcello.
realize. No,
Oh,
not Purcello.
okay.
No, it's a little late
Uh,
for Purcello.
Give me what division?
AL East.
The East. East. Um, Jordan Zimmerman of the Baltimore Orioles.
No, no. And I think he was with the Nationals at the time, right?
Either them or the Tigers, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But
Who is it?
it's Luis Severino.
Really?
Yeah, he went 14-6 with a 2.98 ERA.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wouldn't have expected that.
No, but I mean, if we're talking about if is Chris Sale going to be an All Star, Severino signed with the Mets. Do we have to be concerned that he'll bounce back to his 2017 form?
All right. Now I think we've gone too far. I think we've gone too far down the rabbit hole. They've already they're at least not gonna have Kodai Senga for like a month. So
There is
it
a world where the Mets don't have Senga and the Braves don't have Acuna heading into the start of the year.
I did see that it's a meniscus issue, right?
Yes. So, I mean, they say he should be ready for opening day, but that could just be team speak.
Yeah, it's not like Brennan Marsh, who we've literally just seen running around and doing stuff, and like, yeah, it was a minor procedure. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. We don't know. I shouldn't have a smile on my face as I say that, but we don't know.
Yeah. It's just baseball is a survival of the fittest sport. I mean, it is a
The survival of the healthiest.
yeah, like it is a marathon, not a sprint. Depth matters, and you know, honestly, teams who stay the healthiest often are the ones who are the most successful. So, um, yeah, I mean, I want the Phillies to win the division because they're the best, not because other teams are hurt. But
Yeah, of
whatever.
course. And there's no way that the Braves can have another insanely offensive season where literally everyone's putting up career highs.
Well, they
They
could,
they can. That's
and
not
they probably
allowed.
will.
It's not allowed.
No, but they
That was
probably will
outlawed by the Geneva Convention.
per sources.
The Geneva Convention happened after baseball was corrected, like well after, right? Was that
Yeah,
like
that
a?
was in the 40s.
I was gonna say. So
Your history lesson for today, everybody.
I don't know what year it was though. I couldn't tell you.
Maybe like 47.
Maybe. What year is the Geneva Convention?
Don't worry, I'm
While
googling it.
while we're figuring out
Oh,
Phillies stuff.
I think the This is like they're talking about the 1860s on here.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah, I was way off.
Oh, baseball in the loosest form was already a thing.
Baseball is like the oldest. It's as old as dirt.
I feel like the only sport that could arguably be old, there has to be like soccer, right?
Yeah, probably. I
Like
mean,
that is popular enough to be in the conversation.
I know like the Mayans played basketball first, or a form of basketball. So
The
yeah,
Mayans played Formula One, actually.
esports.
Yes, the Indus Valley civilizations were playing Call of Duty.
Mesopotamia had a dynasty. Uh,
Seriously,
Next year.
bro, those
Mm.
years when was on top, those are some crazy years.
The sports have never recovered.
Seriously, I remember back in the day when was was on. Okay, I'm done with this bit.
Alex actually 400 years old, everybody. But yeah, um,
Well, no, is like a like oh, were they like 5,000 years ago or something?
I have no idea.
I am a celestial being. Surprise, everyone.
I promise this is a baseball podcast. Everybody, don't worry.
Yes. Well, good thing no one's watching.
Where are they?
I can say these things. Anyway, um, baseball, Phillies, the fanatic.
He's cool.
Uh, yeah, yeah, that's a cool green dude. I've got nothing else.
No, that
Matt,
I
do you have anything to finish us off on?
no. I'm just looking forward to as what news drops or anything like that. Just hoping the Phillies have a very healthy spring training and counting down the days till opening day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all we're waiting for now. We got what, 26 days left? 25 days?
Yeah, it's 25, something like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, we can make it. We're gonna make it.
We're almost there.
Seriously. Well, for everyone, thanks for listening as always. And for myself and Matt, go Phils.
Go Phils.